Hello and welcome to this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show. Today's show is all about bullying, and as you guys know, that's a big problem in our society today. My guests are Dr. Santee and Bishop Pope. Welcome to the show, guys. You know, when we talk about bullying, you know, I've seen so many things lately in the news that's taking place with bullies, and so often it happens in our schools, in the school system. And so I wanted to talk from a different perspective. I want to talk certainly from the church perspective, which is why you're here. And then I want to talk to Dr. Santee about his experience being a young man at the age of 10 that could not walk until you were 10, if I remember correctly. So I want to just, the church and the community, how do you think the church and the community can globally affect the bullying that takes place in the world?
Well, I believe as a church we have a responsibility to our communities as well as our society to try to prevent as well as restore those that have been bullied. We have a ministry of restoration, and one of the specialties that we deal with is substance abuse. And what I've found in the past is that many of the people that have substance abuse problems, that the substance abuse is only a symptom of the real problem, and many of them come from abusive families and relationships, maybe childhoods. And if you get to the root of the problem, you find out that they may have been bullied as well. And so we see restoration being necessary in the church, and that's what we are, a hospital.
Basically, yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you know that the church is the hospital, and I think a lot of times people forget that.
Yes.
When we talk about the church, but the church is where we go to get fixed, to get help
Yes.
in our communities, and especially in the African American community.
Yes.
It's so important, and we can, as a whole, we in the African American community, through our churches, can have a huge impact on families in the communities when we reach out into those families to make a difference. So I think that type of ministry is very, very important. Now I know you were a boxer also.
Yes, sir.
And you were bullied as a kid.
Yes, sir.
And had certain experiences where they want to steal your lunch money, ran you to the house, and all this crazy stuff. And you learned to fight.
Yes, sir.
And things changed.
Yeah, it changed, but many times we find that people that were bullied eventually become bullies. But because of the discipline that we were taught in the boxing gym, they taught us that we were to only use this as a form of self-defense.
Right.
And we learned to respect the art of boxing. But still at the same time, growing up on the streets of Philadelphia, you had to be able to take care of yourself. And it was a lot of bullies that were still out there. But yes, I was raised mostly by my mother after her and my father divorced.
Okay.
So I didn't have any older brothers to teach me how to fight. And so I had to learn how to run.
Right. And you learned how to run.
I learned how to run fast.
Okay. And a lot of us have to learn how to run.
Yes, sir.
I learned how to run too. And I had the same type of experience myself as a young man growing up. I was bullied as well. So I know what that feels like, and I know what that experience is like. So that's why I have a lot of compassion toward people that are actually bullied, which is why I'm joining on the call. So we're going to talk about it a little bit later as well. Now, Dr. Santee, now your story is very interesting. You actually are a former Houston Astro.
Yes.
And, man, you're a tall baseball player, huh?
Well, during my time, probably was one of the tallest person out there. But my thing now is I couldn't walk till I was 10 years old.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that. Now, you had what was called, is it polio?
Polio.
Tell me a little bit about that experience up to 10 years old.
Well, I didn't understand it. My mom, a very sweet mother. But I had my siblings was bullying me.
Did you say siblings?
Yes.
Okay.
My brothers and cousins would beat me up, and I was really crawling like an animal.
Yeah.
I couldn't walk.
Okay.
And when my mom was home, she would ask them to protect me and feed me. They wouldn't do any of that. So it was hard for me.
Wow.
It was real hard for me.
It had to be. You know, unfortunately, children can be so insensitive. You know, insensitive, and what's not being understood is that the lack of sensitivity actually scars the children, and they go into their entire adult life dealing with what happened as kids. You know, and I call that invisible scars. So many of us are walking around with invisible scars that the world cannot see, but we feel that pain.
I have many of them.
Yeah.
Many of them. So I met my wife, someone that's really passionate with me. I still deal with some things, and matter of fact, make it hard on her sometimes.
Yeah, but you got somebody who understands what you're going through, and what you're dealing with.
Even when I was when they received me in the Astros, they drafted me out of high school, the first black ever drafted by Houston. I was 10 years old before I could walk. 8 years later, I was playing pro ball. Tell me what he can't do.
Come on, man. That's awesome. Now, what I want to know is, how did you go from polio at the age of 10 to the growth that happened for you to actually become a professional baseball player? What happened at the age of 10 that transitioned you?
Well, again, a loving mother, someone that really cared, someone that really would get me and say, "Come on, walk, make me walk."
Okay.
She would make me walk. She holding on. Would play ball with me.
Really?
My mother would play ball with me.
Okay.
My mother would catch the baseball, shoot a basketball with me, catch a football with me.
Yeah.
And again, at 9 years old, I was in the Olympics. On the sticks.
Right.
See, so
that was like the Special Olympics.
Special Olympics.
Okay.
And the thing about that is, it hurts sometime now.
Okay.
Hurt sometime now. And see, I already knew after I started understanding who God were. I already knew that when God do something, you don't have to stop that.
Right.
And it had to be a God thing with me. Had to be a God thing with me. Because one day, I put the sticks down, my mother was gone. And I started trying to walk. And I fell. When nobody helped me up. So I got up and I kept walking. So when my mom come home, I was out on the front porch. Matter of fact, I got bit by a dog. Couldn't even fight the dog off me.
Wow.
So see, my story is a real story.
Yes, Lord.
And I really went through some things. Excuse me. So I get choked up.
Oh, it's okay. Take your time.
And with me, that's why I love kids. That's why I do the things I do.
Yeah.
That's why I do the things I do with kids. See, bullies are not born. Bullies are made.
Yes.
Absolutely.
See, most of the people that do the bullying, them ones been bullied.
It just passes on.
So
all
what
the
they
time,
do, they've been bullied, so now they feel somebody wicked to them, they gonna bully them. And see, I myself just sit at home sometime and see things on TV and cry.
Yeah.
Because see, I know that man.
You have a whole different level of sensitivity when you've experienced it yourself.
Sure.
That's the deal.
Sure.
It's one thing for you to hear about it or see it on TV and see the ramifications of being a bully, but for you to experience it yourself, you can empathize with that child and what they're going through at that time in their lives, and it certainly makes you want to help them. And that's the beauty of what we go through. I don't think we do anything, or go through anything rather, that's not designed to be a blessing at some point when we're able to recognize the purpose for what we've gone through. And that's what's important.
Another thing. Again, 8 years later, I'm in pro ball. Made All-American high school in baseball and basketball and football, and Hall of Fame in basketball, Hall of Fame fast pitch softball. See, all that's recorded. I'm just not talking about it. This is real.
Yeah.
Then 27 and 28 of this month, they coming down and doing my documentary. George Tillman production out of Tennessee. He said, you just have to have this story. And see, with me, if it ain't about God, it ain't about anything with me.
Amen.
See, because I know I crawl around on the floor like a dog.
Wow.
My brothers mistreated me.
Wow.
I couldn't feed myself. My mother worked 2 jobs it was 5 of us. And she worked 2 jobs trying to keep us fed.
Wow.
Sometimes she would leave one job and wouldn't come home. I wouldn't eat for 18, 19 hours.
Really? You know what? We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute when we come back. You guys stick around. We're going to be back in just a moment.
Amen.
Tired of wasting time threading needles? What would you do with more time? Would you spend it with family, grow your business, take a class or travel? There's a remarkable new tool available to help make your dream for more time a reality. The Easy Needle Multi-Threader was designed for weavers, seamstresses, and quilters to thread multiple needles in a fraction of the time than traditional methods. It eliminates tangles and prevents the possibility of germs and bacteria due to fallen needles and threads onto the floor. It's efficient, it's innovative, it's a time saver. Increase your productivity with Easy Needle Multi-Threader today.
Sky Trues Custom Eyewear has taken the world by storm. In only 8 months, Sky Trues has gained the eyes of many, including celebs like Big Sean, Little Flip, Destiny's Child, Soulja Boy, just to name a few. Through custom design, Sky Trues can put your imagination on your frames. I bring to you the next big thing in Houston, Sky Trues, created by Golden Boy, the musician, the artist, the entrepreneur, and grassroots marketing genius. Be inspired. Sky Trues, custom designed frames. Sky Trues!
All right, welcome back to this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show. My guest is Dr. Sanchi and Bishop Pope. Welcome back, guys. And for those of you that may be just joining us, we're talking about bullying and what these guys have both experienced in their lives and all this good stuff. Man, interesting story. The fact that you had polio and so much has changed in your life. I think that's amazing. And again, I say, we go through different things in our lives in order to make a difference in the world. And it's good for us to understand that. And when we do understand that, we recognize what our purpose is. And so many people don't get to recognize their purpose in life. But I think it's a beautiful thing when we're able to recognize that purpose. Bishop Pope, you had a thought that we didn't get to. I want to make sure we cover that.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, Pharrell, as Dr. Santee was speaking, it made me realize the importance of why the church has to have youth ministries that are in place, because sometimes the church is a refuge for children to come and be ministered to, and you never know what children are going through at home or at school.
Yes.
And sometimes you can see it in their countenance, and we have to be able to recognize that as well as be able to minister to them. And not just preach Jesus down their throats, but look at the realistic side of life and understand that, hey, if this child's being bullied, they're going to be withdrawn. You know, they're going to be dealing with issues down the inside. And so we as adults in the church, we have a responsibility to recognize these things and try to reach out to them.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I would call that seeing the signs. We need to be able to see the signs.
Yes, sir.
And I think if any parent studies their child, they'll be able to pick up on the changes in their countenance. As a parent, they'll be able to see those things. I know that speaking for myself, my parents are those kind of parents. When they seen a certain countenance change, they would say, okay, wait a minute, what's going on, Junior? That was what they called me. And so I had those kind of parents. So it's important that we have those types of parents and people that's going to take the time out to pay attention to the kids. And I think so often we miss that when it comes to our kids. And we don't recognize it until something happens. Until a tragedy takes place, like in the school system, and suicide, and going into schools and shooting up the whole school. And we see that so often now. So often we're seeing that in the news and seeing that being reported, and it's really a sad thing. It's a sad day when you can't even be excited about your child going to school. You know, that used to be a place where you felt like the kids were safe. You know, the worst thing that could happen, they get in a fight and got to go to the principal's office and get a paddling or whatever it was that was that form of punishment at the time. But now we're worried about kids being killed in the schools. You know, and there's mass shooting and mass killings that's happening all over America, literally right now as we speak. And each time I see it, it shocks the heck out of me. I'm like, that's the world we live in?
And the thing we say at our church, we teach, if you're not a part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. And so therefore we had to come together and things like this. That's why we're grateful to be here on your show with you, so that we can brainstorm and try to figure out how to recognize the signs. What can we do to intercede or to intervene on the children's behalf? Because, you know, many times, you know, the parents don't even recognize, and a lot of times in single parent homes, just like with Dr. Santee's case, his mother was working and trying to provide for them, so she wasn't around. And he was being bullied right in his own home.
In his own home. You know, not to interrupt, I want to say this here. You know, I even contemplated killing myself You know, and it's real.
Yeah, of course
it's
it
real.
is. Of course it is.
It's real, and matter of fact, I came close to doing it one time. And so they said, the doctor said, well, you're schizophrenic, you're bipolar. Bipolar, what I'm going through is real.
Right.
You say, no, bipolar.
This is your reality.
This is what it was.
Yeah.
It drove me off into a shell.
Yeah.
You know, the only thing that brought me out this shell was first God. Then I was able to start excelling in sports. You know, I was able, any ball I put my hand on, I was the master.
All right.
You know,
Good.
baseball, 97, 98 mile an hour in high school. Average 39.9 in basketball. Led the nation in scoring. A polio kid.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I sit up now, though. It's all behind me now. I'm able to reach kids. I'm able to go out and tell kids, like I told your brother, that the way I work with kids is through my experience. I tell them about Jesus, and I tell them what he did for me and do for any of them if they call on the name of Jesus.
Amen.
Come on now.
See? So it can happen. You don't have to go out and join a gang. Cowards join gangs. See? Be what you are.
Right.
But parents have to listen to their kids. They have to have an open door when they come in and try to talk to them.
Absolutely.
You can't shut them down.
Yes,
When
absolutely.
you say
Yeah.
cowards join gangs, let me explain something to you about the gang. The gang sometimes shows the children more love
I don't have
than
no
they
problem with
find
that.
in the school or in the homes.
And that becomes family for them.
That's what happens, and this is why they join the gangs, is because the gangs a lot of times have been in the same situation that they in, so they show them love. Even though they may do bad things, they still have unity amongst the family.
Well taken.
And,
Well
and,
taken,
and,
Bishop.
but when you say cowards join the gangs, it starts out as cowardice, but it's because of the love. And this is the thing, that we have to get more love in the community, because if the children feel rejected or not paid attention to,
They're going
then
to go where
gonna
they're
seek
accepted.
elsewhere.
Sure.
Exactly.
Well,
And here's
go
the
ahead.
deal. When you talk about bullying, there are so many different layers
Sure it
to
is.
bullying.
Sure it is.
And there are so many different causes to bullying. I don't think that there's particularly a thing that causes it. I think there are a number of things that can cause it. And I think when we're able to identify those things, then we can work on them.
Exactly.
And both you guys have talked from different perspectives and helped us to understand it totally different. Yet the same purpose and the
Yes,
same
sir.
thing is being talked about. I want to touch on this. Now, you used to be homeless.
Yeah.
Tell me just a little bit about that before we finish up.
I came home from Germany in 1986, and I was discharged from the Army. And 3 hours after I was in the United States, I was introduced to crack. Didn't have any idea what it was. Long story short, I ended up being addicted to crack for 3 years. And I was always a strong person, good at everything that I did. And I had an uncle that told me if I came down in the South that he would take me offshore to help me get away from the problems that I had. So it worked for a while, but I ended up going to New Orleans for a week and stayed a year and a half, never went back offshore. Came to Houston to go to school in 1989 and ended up getting saved on October 8, 1989 at 8:35 in the evening. And not even a year later, I was preaching. It's been 28 years since.
That's the kind of stories I love. You know, the stories of redemption. Yeah, we go through different things, we have different experiences, but it's where we end up now that makes the difference.
Yes.
You know, it's not what we've been through, but it's where we are.
Yes, sir.
You know, and the good things that came from that experience. Now, if you went through that experience and you stay in that experience, that's a totally different thing.
Totally different thing.
But it's a beautiful thing when you have redemption and recovery.
Exactly.
And obviously that's taking place in your life, and certainly in your life.
Let me say thing before we say one thing before we go.
Yes, sir.
And I couldn't really sit here and not talk about my beautiful wife that has been strong for me. Been strong for me. Because I do have problems with what goes on.
Right.
Yeah.
Based on your experience as a kid that you still deal with today.
Because see, I don't really think about the sports anymore. I get sad when one of my sisters called me. Because they took a lot of money from me.
Your family.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm not angry at them. Yes, I am. That's right.
And that's all right.
That's
Be
real.
angry. It's
That's
okay.
real.
That's a real emotion.
And my wife tells me all the time, I have to let it go. See, you can say, if you hadn't walked in my shoes, you can't tell me.
That's right.
You have to walk in my shoes to know.
Right.
It's not easy for me to let go.
Mm-hmm.
It was part of that abuse.
And so not only that, it's like a double whammy.
Oh, man.
They abused you, and then later on they took your money.
Oh, man, yeah. But you know, see, everything I've been through, God wanted me to go through it. And I tell you why. I tell you why He wanted me to go through it, so we can help other people.
Exactly.
That's what it's all about.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's all about. And that just goes back to what I said a moment ago. We don't go through anything without a purpose. And when we're able to recognize what that purpose is, then that's when we know what our purpose in life is. So I say to you, since you have recognized that God purposed that for you,
I believe that.
Since you've recognized
that.
and since you've
I believe that.
acknowledged that,
Yeah.
that should be a great healing point for you right there.
You know.
Am I right or am I wrong?
Well,
I mean, yeah. Because if you recognize what that purpose is, and I'll take it back to myself real quick, and I know we got only a couple of seconds left before we have to wrap this up. But I was bullied as a kid. I mean, I was choked. At one time, I was literally, I almost passed out because I was being choked so bad as a little boy. And I remember that experience, and I was picked on. I was a smaller dude, you know what I'm saying? And so I decided that, okay, I'm going to get to a place where ain't nobody going to mess with me. So I began to work out. Go to the gym, get myself together, this, that, and the other. And I've stayed in the gym since that period of my life because I never want to experience some of the things that I experienced in that time. But also, it's helped me to be sensitive to other people when they're having experiences in their life, and other kids when they go through different things. I've stopped so many fights that I see just driving down the street because I know what that kid's experiencing when they're being beat up, when they're being mistreated and abused, or afraid. I'd be afraid to get off the school bus, because I was going to get beat up and all these types of things. So that's some of the experiences that I had. But I know because I went through that experience, God had a purpose for me to do something about it. Just like right now, we're having this discussion, and we're making a difference in the lives of others because we're having this discussion. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me on this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show.
Thank you, sir.
Absolutely, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And we're going to be back. This story is not over. We got more guests coming up in just a moment. Stick around. We'll be back.
Women invest a lot of valuable time in their stylish chair, creating and maintaining a polished image. Having been in the beauty industry for over 35 years, I have witnessed this investment firsthand. I knew that this was not the kind of experience that I wanted to provide for my clients, so I created a better way. The Easy Needle Multi-Threader is designed to make the weave installation process faster and easier, all in 5 simple steps. All you have to do is secure the Easy Needle Multi-Threader to a surface, insert the cushions into the unit, slide the needles into the cushions, place your thread onto the dowel, and thread your needles with the Easy Needle Threader. Stylists who use this product will never have to thread another needle in between weaving again. With the Easy Needle Multi-Threader, they can save time, save money, increase their clientele, and provide a wonderful experience for their clients.
All right, welcome back to this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show. I told you guys we had 2 more guests coming up, and with me I have Dr. Santee, and I also have Brittany Lestraps. Welcome to the show, ladies. We were talking about bullying and these types of things early on, and that's what this show is all about. And Dr. Lestrap is here. Dr. Lestrap.
It's okay.
It's live. Rochelle, doctor, help me out, girl.
Dr. Rochelle Santee.
Santee. I don't know why my mind just went blank all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? But I keep it real. It is what it is. So Dr. Santee is here, and she has an organization that's all about the bullying and these types of things. And then we have the different perspective, which I was really excited about. as well, Brittany Lestrade. And now Brittany has been on both sides of the fence as it relates to bullying. She was bullied, and then she became the bully. Kind of what we talked about earlier. Hurt people hurt people. And so we're going to hear her perspective as well. Dr. Santee, I want to start with you first. Tell us a little bit about the organization that you have.
It's the GWY Foundation, and just to iterate just a little bit, GWY was the first black African American in the 1800s. His picture now hangs in the state capitol. When he was coming up, he taught blacks to read. And due to the fact that he was teaching, secretly teaching blacks to read, other races became knowledgeable of the fact that he was teaching blacks to read, and they began to give him a hard time. I mean, even to the point that they thought he would not be able to be in legislate. GWY was the first black teacher in Waller and Hempstead County. The GWY Foundation is founded by Dr. Bishop Walter Pendleton Chancellor and his beautiful wife, Alice Pendleton. They're both former NASA scientists. They're the first black NASA scientists that assisted with putting men on the moon. My husband and I also received our doctorate at Pendleton Chapel Seminary School. So we have a bond with them, and we've been able to do a lot of work in Prairie View, because GWY was also one of the first blacks to help establish Prairie View and Texas A&M.
Wow.
So we're very proud of that foundation.
You know, it's so good for us to know our history.
Yes.
And so often we don't have this type of information. And I'm sure a lot of our listening audience may not have known what Dr. Santee just talked about. And I know initially when we had the conversation, I didn't know it. And I'm a sponge for this type of information, so I think that's wonderful.
It's good that we are a part of it, but it's sad that we have to be in a position where we're still not, as they said prior, we're not paying attention to our children. This is why we are having an event at Greater Zion Missionary Baptist Church on October the 27th and the 28th. It is located at 1620 Dolly Ride. The pastor there is Reverend Dale Perry. The event is an anti-bullying event. It's called Bridging the Gap. It's a fundraiser. The event is being televised. It's a 2-day event. We're asking for everyone to come out. The first day, people come out and share their views and their points on bullying. The second day is the gala and the fundraiser. The tickets are only $25. The tickets can be purchased at our GWY PayPal account. We had an Eventbrite account, but that account is no longer feasible for us to utilize due to some type of hacking, so we're not utilizing that account, but we do have a GWY PayPal account. We have beautiful models that are selling tickets. And one of the things that I really love about this event is we have a great deal of humanitarians here in Houston that literally go out, work in the community, and they don't mind helping the children, helping someone that's standing on the corner, helping someone that may be hungry. We're honoring 15 community humanitarians that night. Mr. Pharrell Phelps is one of the humanitarians that we are honoring that night. We're also honoring Ms. Thelma Scott of Safe Diversity. She's also in the audience. Ms. Davina Bailey. Davina Bailey is the Dean of Students for Harmony Middle School. We're honoring Dr. Conte Terrell. We have a long list. Miss Amanda Sapp, a wonderful, sweet young lady that also goes out in the community trying to help and make changes. Miss Carolyn Baker, Gem Source Magazine. If you ever need a good magazine article, contact Miss Carolyn Baker. We've partnered together to help make a change. As my husband stated, as Mr. Pharrell stated, and our bishop, Mr. Walter Pope, we need to see the signs. We need to understand, and I say this all the time, so since Pharrell has allowed me to come public in reference to being on his show, we band together for Harvey like crazy. Houston band together, the American Red Cross band together, and they were sending out boats, tents, and teepee huts. We need the same thing for our children. Because it's not in your house does not mean it won't affect your house. You can have a family member that becomes bullied. And as this beautiful lady right here says, she went from being a person being bullied to the bullier. So what we're trying to do is we're not focusing on just the child being bullied, but we're also focusing on that child that became a bullier.
And the thing about it is, we have to get to the root, you know. And so often we talk about the surface problem, but we have to get to the root in order to kill it, if that makes any sense. And so, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Yeah, and we're really excited about your organization. I'm definitely excited to be one of the honorees. Yes, and you can certainly say one more thing, Dr. Santi.
I just want to say this, that through the grace of God, we've been blessed. You know, sometimes when people think they close the door on a dream that you have, God always leaves you a window of escape. G.W. White has been given a window of escape. We have magnificent sponsors like Prime America, Mr. James Rickett, All Type Insurance, Mr. Tony Labar, Century 21 and Texas Roofers, Mr. Yogi Evans, HPD. These people care. And if they care, we should care. And I want to say to you, because I know my time is up in reference to speaking, but I so desire to tell you thank you for your courtesy as well as your time for allowing us to come in and ask people to come out on October the 27th and the 28th. Buy these tickets. We waste $25 on junk food. Literally, we waste $25 on junk food. Why can't we donate that to our children? It's a nonprofit that part of the funds are being going to the STEM program. The STEM program for Pendleton Chapel Seminary is to assist young children who have not had the accessibility to finish school. It's a GED program for them.
Very important. And I think everybody in our listening audience can certainly understand how important education is in the educational process. I'm going to get to you, Miss Brittany. Now, you guys might have heard me a moment ago when I said Brittany is on the other side of the fence, but both sides. She was bullied, and then she became a bully. You know, and we just said a moment ago, oftentimes hurt people hurt people. It's just perpetuated as we go on, and that's something that we gotta stop. You know, I want to commend you for standing up when we had our conversation and saying to me, "Hey, I want to be a part of that. I want to be there that day." When we had a conversation, that's what Brittany said to me, and I was surprised that you were so bold about it. She said, "No, I want to do this." And I thought it was a beautiful thing, so I thank you for being here. We're going to hear a little bit more about your story in just a moment when we come back. You guys stick around. We'll be back in just a moment.
Tired of wasting time threading needles? What would you do with more time? Would you spend it with family, grow your business, take a class, or travel? There's a remarkable new tool available to help make your dream for more time a reality. The Easy Needle Multi-Threader was designed for weavers, seamstresses, and quilters to thread multiple needles in a fraction of the time than traditional methods. It eliminates tangles and prevents the possibility of germs and bacteria due to fallen needles and threads onto the floor. It's efficient, it's innovative, it's a time saver. Increase your productivity with Easy Needle Multi-Threader today.
Sky Trues custom eyewear has taken the world by storm. In only 8 months, Sky Trues has gained the eyes of many, including celebs like Big Sean, Little Flip, Destiny Child, Soulja Boy, just to name a few. Through custom design, Sky Trues can put your imagination on your frames. I bring to you the next big thing in Houston, Sky Trues, created by Golden Boy, the musician, the artist, the entrepreneur, and grassroots marketing genius. Be inspired. Sky Trues, custom designed frames. Sky Trues!
All right, welcome back to this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show. We were talking about bullying with Dr. Santi and Brittany Lestraps. Now, when we left off just a quick second ago, we were talking to Brittany. Now, Brittany, you, like you said, you've been on both sides of the fence.
Yes.
Tell me what it was like in your experience. Now, I know what your childhood, a little bit about your childhood. I want you to tell us a little bit about that childhood experience that got you to that place where you went from being bullied to a bully. What happened in your childhood, in your home?
Well, it started when I was younger. I was that nerdy kid that wore the big glasses, you know, with the string on the back, you know, and I always had to wear the long skirts because my grandmother was very religious. And People used to call me Harriet Tubman. Here come Harriet Tubman. Here come this. Here come that. And it really lowered my self-esteem. Like, I didn't really understand then, you know, how much it took an effect on me. You know, but growing up in the house, I was adopted as a child. Never knew my mom, never knew my dad. Just met my mom 3.5 years ago, literally for the first time my whole entire life. So growing up without that guidance, and my grandmother was like born in the 30s, so she didn't talk to me. She didn't tell me. All I knew was hollering and screaming and beating.
Really?
That's all I got.
So hollering and screaming and beating was their form of communication for you?
Yes.
So you go out into the world with this level of communication.
Good people was bad to me. Bad people was good.
Just the opposite. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
And like we said a moment ago, so much starts in the home. You know, with misguided parents. Unfortunately, there's not a guidebook for parenting, but some things you think is just common sense for any human being.
Exactly.
But now common sense isn't always common, if you're going to keep it 100.
Exactly.
So you had that experience, and tell me a little bit more about that.
But just not being, you know, abused by my grandmother. You know, I lived with 5 of my uncles that was also abusing me. So when you're dealing with sexual abuse, I'm talking down everything, like, just imagine. So I had to find a way to make me feel big, make me feel tall. So I turned that nerdy girl into the popular girl. I was like, I'm not gonna be this no more. I used to sneak clothes, you know, so I can
dress the way you want to.
Dress the way I want to. And I started bullying kids, putting notes on their bag, putting water in their backpack, taking their money out their pocket. I wouldn't ask them nothing. I take it out in their face. I was bullying the teachers. I was spitting that. I was doing everything. I needed attention. I was crying out in the inside.
And you know what? That's one of the things that we talked about a moment ago. We talked about seeing the signs and seeing the things that are happening with our kids so that we can pick up on it and make the difference. So we can say, hey, I see you're not acting the same. You're a little different today. What's going on with you? You know, the parents have to pay attention to the kids. This type of thing
that was never the case.
And so you're in a house, you're adopted.
I have 3 other siblings. I was the youngest. I was the baby out of all the siblings.
Okay. And so you mentioned 5 uncles. And all of those, all 5 of your uncles.
That was my grandmother's sons.
Your grandmother's sons, which was your uncles. They also sexually abused you as well?
When I say, I'm not going to say every day, but majority. It was different ones. And as a kid, I never understood. Like, we have this big house. By this time, my older sister was already gone out the house. So it's just me and my brother. My brother is just a year older than me.
Okay.
So what confused me, and this is what I started paying attention to, what's going on. And I'm like, she put my brother in the room with her. She put me in my own room right next to my uncle's room. So I was confused, like, I'm a girl. Why can't I be in there under you?
Right.
But my grandma had did so much to me to the point to where I would be scared to go talk to her or to say anything to her.
Because she too was abusive.
Exactly. It was times I would go to her and want to tell her so bad. But then it was like in my head, like, them her sons, they gon' gang up on you and do it in front of everybody, you know.
Yeah.
I just was ashamed of it. I was, oh my God, you don't even understand. Like, I was torn. So that's what I did. When I went to school, that was my way. That's all we could do is go to school. My windows was boarded down. She used to lock me in the house. All I could do was read the Bible. I know the Bible from the front to the back. You know, thank God for that. Because that's what kept me going.
So in the midst of all of it, you got that in you, so that helped you.
She got the word.
Exactly. So that's what kept me going. You know, but like living in that house was, I couldn't see. Like, it was like dark in the house. To me, it was like that dark spot in my life. You know, and when I was able to go outside, it's like, now I see all these people. They got their mom over there. They got their dad over there. For a long time, I didn't even know mom and dad exist. I just thought, I didn't know where I came from.
Really?
Yes.
Let me ask you this. So when you say your grandmother, was she
my dad's mom?
Your dad's mom?
And
your biological father's mom?
Yes. And she
so they kept
my
you
mom.
in the family. And she hated your biological mom. And so you, as a result of that, you stayed there, but you did not get to know your biological mom.
Exactly.
Until, what did you just say?
Until about 3.5 years ago.
About 3.5 years ago. And you
For the first time in my
now,
life.
yourself, you're a mother now.
Yes. I'm a mother of 7 beautiful children.
A mother of 7 children.
And
4 girls
and 3 boys.
And And when she told me that, I said, okay, wait a minute. 7 kids that you gave birth to? I'm like, let a brother get some clarity here. And Brittany explained to me that yes, she's the mother of 7
When you don't have no
beautiful
guidance
children.
and you don't know, you just don't know. I accepted anybody in my life. I went to anybody. I did everything you can possibly think about. And I don't know, like now in my life, it's like I'm in a healing point where, you know what, I'm starting to really realize things. The friends I had is gone. All the men trying to talk to me, I don't even pay attention. I ignore it. Keep going, because I know where God's trying to take me. So it's like, you know what, it's time to save lives, study hurting people.
Yeah.
Because relationships, any relationships I hurt everybody. There's no point to continue to hurt people.
So you say every relationship that you have,
I've heard it.
you end up hurting the people that you're with.
Yep. But I had to learn as I go. I had to learn on my own. I never had somebody to say. Exactly. Hurt people hurt people. And I really, truly believe that is true. And I stand on that because it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, hurt people hurt people. I was hurt. Bad. Gotta go home. I'm at school. Getting bullied at school. Then I gotta go home to these men looking at me sexual, then touching on me. I'm walking to the restroom. Then my grandma used to send me in the room to, go clean this room. And going there, they all doing everything. So it's kind of dealing with that. Oh man, it's times I ran away. I've attempted suicide 4 times. I've been addicted to drugs. Whatever you can think about.
Wow.
I have been in it.
And it kills me to know that adults are in the house and present, and knowing that these things are going on, and they're not standing up and saying anything. And one of the things that that really gets me is to know that adults have the opportunity to say something they don't, and then everybody wants to protect the perpetrator. Everybody wants to keep it quiet. Everybody wants to not say nothing about Uncle Billy, but Uncle Billy is the damn dog that did it. I think it's time that we start saying who the hell did it. And these families continue to try to keep these secrets in the family. I think it's time that we tell the damn truth. Excuse me for saying it, but I just what I feel.
True.
Yeah.
The whole time, I didn't figure this out until probably about 20-something years old. But the whole time, my grandmother, I'm thinking she don't know. And she knows. The whole time. Then it's like I always thought, like, why grandma never had a man? Why I've never seen, not one time, seen my grandma with a man. Never seen a man come to the house, never nothing. The whole time I was her sexual pleasures. So she was doing it too. And
Wait. Wait a minute.
I'm dead serious. My punishment, they called it punishment. But as a child, when you don't know, you just don't know.
Right.
And as a child, and what made me realize when I had kids, I'm like, would I make my child stand there with no clothes, butt naked, and bend over and touch your toes? No. I don't. What am I going to look at you like that for? So I put 2 and 2 together, and every time I tried to turn around and see what she was doing in the bed, she'd be like, if you turn around, I'm going to knock your head off your shoulder. And I was so scared. I'm not playing. I was so scared. I was like, ooh, I didn't want to look back. But at that moment, it didn't click like, ooh, she back there. She could be doing anything. I don't know. I never looked back, not one time.
In fear. Man, and that's so sad that adults destroy kids like that and abuse kids like that. And if those kids aren't careful, they'll go out into the world and perpetuate the same thing with somebody else.
But I said, no, these chains are breaking. Because I would my children would not. They know their mama's story. And that's what they look at me like, superwoman. If you ask them or talk to them, they speak very highly. That's superwoman. My mama did. She did. But I'm like, okay, thank you. But I'm like, it's God. The grace of God got me to this point where I'm in my life right now.
Well, let me ask you. So, of course, things are different for you. What was the turnaround point for you? What was it that happened that made you turn all of this around and become the new person that you are today?
Well, I had my oldest sister. I was really spoiled because I was the baby. Once me and my sister reunited, I was homeless for. My grandmother put me out at 14. And when she put me out at 14, I ended up going to a girl's home. And because she gave me back to the state, so I didn't belong to her no more. I belonged to the state. So when I went to the state, my grandmother, the state placed me into a girls' home. When I got there, I had a caseworker that would come and see me, whatever. He started touching me. So immediately I knew that I've been trying to get away from this. I was happy to be gone from my grandmother's house.
Really?
I was just like,
Yeah,
I feel
yeah.
free. I feel released, you know. But then this man comes, so it's like, oh my God, like, here you go again. And I took off. I ran away, and I haven't looked back since. And I've been on my own, literally. I've stayed on the street, literally, like, not at nobody's house. I would go out, and I would make friends just to go in and eat at their house. Go in and take a bath. I'm in their restroom taking baths and stuff, stealing their clothes. I've been there, yes. And nobody knew.
Wow.
Nobody knew. And I would go at nighttime. I would go on the Vaco, go to sleep. I'll get on the bus. I'll catch, bum $1 or $2 or whatever, and get on the bus, ride the bus, so I won't be alone. And I met a guy, and he was like, "You look familiar." I'm like, "No, because I'm young, so I'm scared." I'm like, "You won't know me."
Yeah.
And he was like, "You look just like this woman I know." And he started like talking, saying the names and stuff, and I'm like, "Cece." I'm like, "No." He was like, I said, "Her name Christy," and he was like, "You know what? I think her name and he was trying to get the last name. I was like,
you have to,
Straps.
yeah.
And he was like, yeah. I was like, that's my sister. Where she at? So I got excited. And that's how me and my sister got reunited. This guy that I met out.
Wow.
That was a God.
And once you reconnected with your sister, then that felt like family for real.
I felt like I had something. I was like, oof. But I still didn't tell her, open up to her what was going on, because I was ashamed and I was embarrassed about the things. So I left it alone.
Okay.
But my sister, she finally got her little sister back. So she spoiled me to death. Once I got pregnant at 16, and I had my baby at 17. I got pregnant again at 17 and had a baby. So it was ongoing.
Right.
But my sister stuck there with me until she passed away in 2011. But that's the point right there. My sister, I wasn't a mother to my kids in the beginning.
Okay.
Because I had my sister. She was like, "Oh, girl, leave me here. I got them."
Okay.
I'm like, okay. And I'm still young.
Doing what you
do.
do.
And I'm just actually being able to get out and do things on my own without nobody stopping me, without nobody saying nothing to me.
Right.
So I took advantage of that. And once my sister passed away, that's when my eyes opened. It was like, I didn't have that person where I can just,
depend on like that
and do whatever I wanted to do, stay home, be in different states and doing what I want to do. I didn't have that no more.
Right.
And so I'm looking at my kids like, what you gonna do? They're looking at me like, what you gonna do?
Figuring things out.
So I really got on my knees and I prayed and I asked God, and I'm like, strengthen me.
Yeah.
Give me the strength, give me the courage, And at that time I still had my insecurity problems and stuff, so I never felt pretty. And I just
You're beautiful.
I just felt, thank you.
Yes, she is beautiful, isn't she?
But I don't know. It's the grace of God that the things He will do. I've experienced them.
Yeah.
When I say I've experienced them, I've experienced them.
You've experienced, and
Yes.
you really have experienced them.
Yes.
I want to ask you this final question. What would you say to the little girl that's watching this show, who's being abused by her family and by different people, and being hurt by different people in the home? What would you say to that little girl?
I would say, don't be scared. Open your mouth. Don't, whoever threaten your family, whoever say that they're going to hurt you or whatever, no. Confide in somebody. I was that hidden face. I've written a book about it. Don't belittle yourself for nobody. Get out there. If somebody hurting you, whatever, tell somebody. Let somebody, if it's a cousin, if it's an auntie, somebody that's going to reach out to somebody else that can get you some type of help.
Right.
So I would just say, don't be quiet about it. Speak out about it.
Speak out.
And that's what I want to do. I want to be a voice for those that don't have their own voice. I want to let them know that you do have a voice.
And again, that goes back to what we spoke about earlier. When you've gone through something, and then you realize what your purpose in life is to make a difference. And for you to say, I want to be that voice now. That can change things up. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I really appreciate you guys joining me on this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show.
Thank you.
And I know that people have been blessed tremendously because of what you guys have stated on this show. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this edition of the Farrell Phelps Show. And certainly, for more information on the show, you can certainly reach me at Let's Talk About It 12TV at gmail.com. That's Let's Talk About It 12TV at gmail.com. You can also go to my Facebook page and YouTube. YouTube, type in the name Farrell Phelps, and you'll see a list of my shows right there for your viewing pleasure. Until next time, we'll see you then.